Introducing the Silverstone Strider Plus 600 watt SST-ST60F-PB power supply. This features an 80 plus bonds rating, which is pretty efficient, up to 88% efficiency. Is this the right blend of performance, power and quality? Let's find out in this video overview. So starting off with the packaging, Silverstone have gone with a quite nice sort of bluey indigo kind of theme with an all black exterior on the box. Now this particular power supply, as I mentioned, is an 80 plus bronze rated one, which delivers up to 88% efficiency as set by ATX and operates at 230 volts. This particular power supply is more aimed towards budget users, people who are not going to be running SLI setups or crossfire setups, you know, just the basic bog standard, powerful but modest power supply. Looking to the back of the box, Silverstone have included some more information regarding the efficiency, more about what the actual components inside. It uses a powerful single 12 volt rail, so unlike some cheaper power supplies, this actually uses a single rail, which is designed to deliver better efficiency over a multi-rail power supply. I personally prefer single rail, and every power supply that I have in this current office at the moment is single rail as well. With the Strider Plus being modular, it does obviously come with multiple modular cables. So as you can see on the box, it does actually list what cables that comes with it. So with the 60F, which is obviously the mid-range, there is a 500 watt and a 700 watt variation of this power supply. But today obviously I'm going to be taking a look at the 500 watt. So one 24 pin / 20 pin, obviously for your motherboard. You've got a 4+4, so 8 pin for your CPU. You have two PCI Express cables, so this enables you to have 6 or 8 pin. It's a 6+2. It has 2 times regular power PCI Express 6. So what you can do is you could run SLI and Crossfire. I mean, with the latest NVIDIA Maxwell cards, you could probably run, you know, 2 SLI and 960s, no problem at all. We have 8 SATA connections. We have 3 4-pin peripheral and 1 times floppy 4-pin. Enough of looking at the box, let's take a look at what's inside. So taking a look inside the box and opening it up, this hasn't been opened before, so this is the first time, so it's going to be a surprise, you know, for both of us. So I do like the way the box opens, pretty standard for a power supply. So at the top we have a power supply manual, and we also have a combination of power efficiency and flexibility. So 2 manuals, 2 guides as well, so I'll just pop them up here for now. Inside here we have like a bubble wrap, quite big bubbles, but on this side we have the modular cables, so they're all bundled up together there, so I'll just pop them here for now. And we have a disappointing, only a 2-pin. You know, I thought they'd at least give, you know, a 3-pin being UK based, but this is obviously designed for the European market, this particular one. And we of course have the power supply itself. So let's take a closer look at the cables, as this is a modular power supply. So moving on to the cables, we have 2 separate SATA connector ports. So what this allows you to do is connect up to 8 hard drives, 8 SSDs, you know, a combination of the 2, combination of both. It only does come with 1 cable for the 4 peripherals, and 4-pin peripheral should I say, and this has 3 connectors. One thing I would like to say is I tend to use more than 3 Molex connectors, so you might have to daisy chain if you're going to use, you know, 3-pin to 4-pin Molex fan power cables. But obviously this being a basic 600 watt power supply, I can understand that some sacrifices have got to be made. So here we have the flat, now bear in mind all these cables are flat ribbon cables, so it should help the cable management, especially around the back of the case, depending on your case. Really nice feature, because budget power supplies generally cater better to budget cases. So some cases might not have good enough, you know, cable management space, whereas, you know, this power supply, the Strider, is going to help with that. So the 24 or 20 plus 4 pin, and we also have one power for the 6 pin and 6 plus 2 pin, so 6 and 8 pin for the graphics card, and we have 2 of these cables, and we also have an 8 pin CPU power cable. So yeah, let's take a look at the power supply and get to the good part. So here we have the bread and butter of the overview, the Silverstone Strider Plus 80 plus bronze 600 watt power supply. Now, one of the most interesting things about this power supply is its size. It's only 150 millimeters wide, so 15 centimeters. So compared to some larger power supplies, I mean, I've got power supplies that, you know, extend out to here, so it's pretty good. It's not quite small form factor, but you know, it is very, very, very dinky for a 600 watt power supply. Now, talking about the amperage, because that's an important part of power supplies, and a lot of people look towards that for reliability, because you get some of the cheaper brands that have, you know, say like 1000 watts, and they're like a CIT power supply, which, to be honest, I would probably rather burn myself with napalm than use one of them on my systems, because one of the most underrated parts of a computer, and one thing people most likely to compromise, is the power supply. So you can have a £1,000 CPU, £250 motherboard, and you know, you might put 100. You won't put £100. Ignore me, but you might put, you know, say a £40 power supply in it, and you know, you are gonna have problems. You don't wanna risk wrecking it. So yeah. Now this particular power supply, like pretty much every other power supply on the market, has operating temperatures of 0 to 40 degrees. So if you go below 0, it's not going to work, and you go above 40 degrees, it's going to overheat and, you know, eventually go. But yeah, so it is black. It's all black. There isn't much styling to go on it. We do have obviously the white label here, which tells you more about the power supply itself. It is a 240 volt. It is designed for the European market. Now, one interesting thing about this power supply is it has a 120mm fan. Now, this fan is obviously designed to keep the components of the power supply itself cool inside. It does have a low noise fan inside, so it shouldn't be audible at all, but obviously I'll let you know my feedback after I've used it. I will hammer it with SLI 970s to test the, you know, sometimes power supplies can give a coil whine, capacitor whine as well, you know, when they're overloaded too much. But yeah, we'll see what is to be with this one. So one thing I do like to note about the power supply is this particular logo here. This is the Silverstone logo, the snowflake, and it actually feels really nice. The power supply is quite heavy for what I would call a cheaper sort of model. It's not cheap, don't get me wrong, but it's obviously not going to be an 80 plus platinum premium monster. I'm not going to pay £200 for something like this anyway. So yeah, I'm going to get my multimeter out now, take a look, plug it into the test system and see how it does, and I'll be back in a bit. Well, I'll be back in like a minute, because obviously yeah, shut up Gav. So yeah, on to the testing, and then I will give you my final opinion. So yeah, the Silverstone Strider Plus 600 watt power supply isn't, I mean, I'm going to start with the bad points first, get them out the way, then go for the good ones. This power supply is around £64 if you look around on the Tinternet. And one thing really that stands out for me is 64 quid is a lot for a bronze rated power supply, no matter what you think. Efficiencies have come down in price, like the golds, platinums are reasonably priced now, some of them. And this 700 watt version of this power supply is £3 more, which you'd be stupid not to get the 700 watt over the 600 watt. Now, if the 600 watt was obviously, you know, £55, just over or just under £10 for every 100 watts, this would be a killer. It's fully modular, fantastic, great for cable management. It's got flat ribbon cables, so easily fit around the back of your case, which is good. It's what you want. After the testing, obviously, I did some testing, and you can find the details in the written review at the bottom, in the link in the description, should I say. It didn't exactly have the best accuracy, but it was still well within guidelines. It's not the most awesome power supply we've seen altogether, but what I would say is if you were in the market for a 600 or 700 watt power supply, then this is obviously something you should consider, especially if you don't mind the bronze rating. I mean, I personally prefer gold and platinum. I'm an efficiency sort of person. I've changed my ways, I try and save electricity, because let's face it, it's only marginal, but over time it does equate to the old moolah. So yeah, touching on the finer points, we have obviously a really nice shell, pretty simple, pretty simplistic. I really love the contrast of the Silverstone Tundra fan in the power supply itself. Now, as I've stated, or maybe I haven't stated, this is a fingerprint magnet. If you've got fingers that touch things and put fingerprints in things, then this is going to happen to this power supply. There's no second guessing it. But as you can see, it is a fully modular power supply, so it does go in a favour. Plenty of cables. For a 600 watt power supply, you do have the option for 2 graphics cards, which, if you want to run 2, my ideal graphics setup with this power supply would probably be 2 960s, the new Maxwell Nvidia cards from the G4 series, of course. But yeah, wrapping it up, I'm not going to ramble on all night. I'm sorry, Silverstone, but for the price, the 700 watt version of this power supply is better. This is at a weird point in the market, in my opinion, where there's £3 difference between 100 watts. So if the price comes down, this is, it's an alright power supply. It's not world beating. It's not gonna wow you. It's not gonna make you go, wow, I've just bought the best power supply in the world. Anyone will tell you that. That's worth the salt. But one thing I will say is, if you are on a tight budget, you don't care about efficiency rating, you like Silverstone, you trust them, then obviously the 700 or 600 watt, I'm going to say 700 watt, because for £3, you know what I mean, it's ridiculous with the £3 difference in price. I would get it, fully modular. It just does enough to get our bronze award today, so there's the bronze award for you. Pretty fitting for a bronze power supply, no pun intended, perhaps. But yeah, I do like the power supply, and it gets a thumbs up from me in terms of how I've tested it with a multimeter. We would love an ATX load tester. It is on my list of things to get either this year or next, so we will be doing a lot more in-depth power supply reviews. This is obviously an overview based on that fact. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Check us out in the next video. Please give us a like, subscribe, comment. Please feel free. We do appreciate everything. Check out our newly designed website in the description as well. It's amazing. It's fast. It's, great. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. And ciao for now.